Good evening and welcome to JJ Wins here in Holiday City. It's the return of Sports Weekly driven by Terry Hendricks Ford. And as we said here at JJ Wins and brought to you by Amerimade Realty, the main stops of Northwest Ohio and the Bryan Parks and Recreation Department. Spring sports across the board tonight. Great energy in this room here tonight. Look at full house. Yeah. They're all here for you, Paula. Or at least now.
That's just how Eden does it.
That is right. Eden has always been one of our better crowds here tonight. Paula Fry, our first guest, the head coach of the Eden Lady Bombers for softball. Brian Moore, the baseball coach. And then we'll talk Fairview baseball with head coach Andy Singer a little bit later in the show. Paula, thanks for being with us. Year number 2. Got to believe the cohesiveness is much better this year than going into your first year.
Oh, for sure. It's interesting coming on as a first-year coach after the COVID season when the girls missed a whole season. And Eden didn't have any summer ball, so they really, truly missed about 2 years of softball.
Where did you feel like you were behind the most? Offensively? Defensively? Where were you behind? Or everything?
Just a little bit of everything. Pitching, we didn't have a pitcher who even pitched in one inning of high school softball. So we had a great group coming back, but it was just 4, maybe 5 girls who had played before in a high school varsity game. So that was the hardest part.
For those that don't know any of your background, tell us a little bit. You're an Eden grad. What year? And
oh, wow.
Yeah, come on.
Wow.
Got to show your age here on the show.
I'm a 99 grad.
Okay.
So I came to Eden actually when I was a freshman. So I moved around a lot when I was younger. My dad was in the military, but he was also an Eden grad. And then I came to Eden, played for 4 years in basketball, volleyball, and softball. And then I went on to Bluffton University and played basketball and softball there.
Okay. Second year as the varsity coach, as we mentioned, for softball. How many years assisting Kayla in basketball?
I've been with Kayla for 4 years. 2 years before that, I was with in 7th and 8th grade, basketball. And actually, the senior class, I've been with them since they were in 7th grade.
Wow. That probably makes you feel a little old, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, and you even recruited Kayla to come help you in softball.
Yeah.
A former all-state track athlete to come coach softball, right?
Begged her, more likely.
Okay. So tell us about this year's team. What tell us about Eden softball this year, at least on paper, going into the year.
Yeah, so we have 10 returning players, which is just incredibly rare and really nice to have. All 10 players had been on the field. They're coming in, they now know me, I know them. It's just really nice to have that consistency. We have a great senior class, 3 girls who've played. They play all 3 sports.
I was going to say a nucleus that have played the 3 main sports at Eden.
Yes, all 3 sports, all 4 years. They just know what they're doing. You don't really have to coach them much. They're just great. They listen well, and they just take leadership and ownership of the game, so that's nice to have. And I have 4 juniors and 3 sophomores that are all returning. And then on top of that, we have 6 new players, including 2 exchange students.
So a really good mix here at Eden right now of upperclassmen, underclassmen, and incoming freshmen as well. Yeah,
great freshman class. We have 3. 2 of our main pitchers are freshmen, so that's nice to have.
I want to ask you about that. Softball's a little bit different sport in terms of pitching than baseball, but what's same concept mentally if you have 2 freshmen as numbers 1 and 2, and that's a little rare as well, because especially at E4, a lot of times in softball there is no innings restriction, no pitch count, that sort of thing, so it's a luxury to have more than 1.
It is, and it's all about arm care, and one of our starting pitcher, Natalie, she actually played with us over the summer, so we got a good look at her, see what she can do. It's nice. And then Marley, our other backup pitcher, she's come on, and she's going to see good time too this year, so it's nice.
What are the differences in their styles?
Natalie throws for speed. She comes in fast, so that's nice. And Marley she's more style. She's got different pitches, many change-ups, so you can kind of bring her in if you need to mix it up a little bit.
So this, as Northwest Ohio weather can be a big tease and unforgiving, and then all of a sudden you get a day like today and it's great. So you've been indoors, I presume, mostly for the spring.
We have been indoors almost every day, but 3, maybe 4. All of our scrimmages had been canceled due to weather. So it's been a little bit frustrating. The girls just want to get on the field and play. I'm right there with them. We just want to see what we've got, put it all together, and go out and compete.
There's only so much you can do inside, too, isn't there?
There really is.
And there's only so much excitement you can generate without boredom and staleness kind of settling in.
Well, most of the players are basketball players, so they're just really sick of the gym, I think, at this point. They want to be outside and want to be playing a different sport.
Paula, what's this group do pretty well collectively as a group? What would you say their strengths are on paper?
They're athletes. They love to compete. They don't like to lose. They give it everything they have every game, and they generally listen. Anything that we ask them to do, they will do for us, which is great. They've been playing under Coach Walker and I for 4 years, some of them, so they know how our style is, and they know what we expect from them, and they rise to the occasion every day.
I had Marchetta Carrier on a couple weeks ago, and asked her, she's the varsity, obviously, for those that are listening, varsity girls coach, basketball at Edgerton, varsity softball coach. Similar concept here. And I asked her, is her style different on how she approaches basketball in terms of intensity to softball? And she said yes. Is yours a little different?
It is. The game's just different. When you're talking a contact sport, it's high intensity, it's moving constantly, it's faster paced. Softball is more finesse. You're looking for more consistency, and it's a slower paced game, so it is different.
Okay. Areas that this group needs, what do you need to get better at?
Playing consistently. We really need to keep our errors low, taking care of the ball, valuing it. We do well hitting. That's never been a concern for us. We get out there and we hit really well. But, fielding is an area that we have to get better if we want to win.
Was it just making routine plays? Was that what kind of killed you last year?
Yeah, not overthrowing the ball, hitting your cutoffs, communicating, getting into position where you need to be, those kind of things.
Where are you at your best defensively? Some teams will say we're strong up the middle. Where are you right now? Do you feel like you're your best defensively?
Best defensively, I would say our infield. We have a very, very strong infield. They play well together. Our outfield's coming along. We've moved some people around because we lost our center fielder last year, so some people are playing some new positions out there.
And you only lost one kid.
We only lost one.
Paige Briner.
Yep.
To graduation. And then you mentioned earlier, I think about when you said that, 10 letter, and I was writing that in my notes earlier today, 10 letter winners back. I mean, that's huge for any program, especially at the Division IV level. It's even bigger.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I cannot wait to get out there and see what they can put together tomorrow.
What does it mean? How much does it really hold you back? I guess touch on that. You said you had no scrimmages because they've all been wiped away because of weather. What's that take away? What are the biggest disadvantages?
You just don't get to go out there and make those errors that you need to get out of your system. Those little things like, where do I need to be when I'm lining up? Who do I need to hit with my cutoff? Those things need to be worked out through scrimmages. And when you don't have one, you're more likely to make them in the first game.
Do you call pitches?
No, I let our catcher, Emma Hickman, she's fantastic, one of the best catchers I've actually seen in a long time at this level.
What's the difference in calling pitches from, let's say, baseball to softball?
Well, we don't have a lot. We generally run fastball, curveball. Fastball and changeup is really what we run. We're working on adding more pitches, so there's not a lot. I think in baseball, there's many more options you can throw at this level.
So of the 10 letter winners, you said there's only 3 seniors?
There's only 3, yeah.
So you're going to get, everybody back except, those 3, you get 7 more and even more next year.
Yeah, definitely. That's the hope, to keep building the program. We have 16 come out this year. We're so close to having a JV team, which will be incredibly nice to have if we can get.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It sure has. But our 3 seniors, yes, it's only 3, but they are going to be missed for sure. So I don't want to take away from their season this year because they're incredible kids. But that's some big shoes to fill.
I can't tell you how big that is. Whether it's softball, baseball, whatever, basketball, whatever sport, if you don't have enough for a JV team, talk about stunt and growth for years after this year.
Right. We just keep building a little bit at a time. We actually played some summer ball this past year, so that was great. First time, I think, in many years that's been able to happen. So the hope is to play summer again, get a couple games in and maybe a tournament. Get some of those 8th graders just to feel good about wanting to come into this program.
Yeah, because that's a huge jump then, too, and they're going from like that pony league softball, so to speak, up to the high school level, especially throwing them to the varsity level.
Right, and that's partly why I feel so confident about our freshman pitchers, because Natalie pitched with us over the summer, and we went to a tournament, so she played against some travel teams, and it makes a world of difference.
BBC has been owned by Hilltop the last pretty close to a decade now.
Right.
They did lose a lot of kids. Are they still, in your eyes, the favorite until somebody beats them?
Yeah, I would think so. I think they deserve that. I mean, they've worked very hard to get there. They're a great program, great group of girls over there. You got to pay them the respect that they're due. I mean, our hope is to knock them off. I mean, that should be everybody's hope in the BBC.
What's the rest of the conference look like based on maybe some of the kids coming back from last year? Who else do you expect to be strong?
I think it's going to be very competitive. I think every team is out to win. I think there's a lot. If you look at it on paper, I think it's pretty even, and a lot of the other teams. So it's just really hard to say at this point, I think.
Schedule outside of the BBC. You play, I know, a lot of GMC schools.
We are this year, which is nice. Playing some bigger schools. That'll be just good experience for us. Really show how much we can improve and play a little bit tougher teams. That'll be great.
Because you don't want to say, I mean, you're not admitting this, but I'll go ahead and say it. You would sacrifice a game if you lose a game in early, let's say, second week of April. If that means come the second or third week of May when you're starting tournament, you know what? We learned a lot from playing Antwerp or Archibald or whoever it might be for tournament time.
Absolutely. It's invaluable. You need to be playing teams outside of your area that you normally play or outside of your division. If you can do that, you can improve your skills and you can get better throughout the season. So I'm actually looking forward to those games.
Too bad you didn't have one today, right?
I would have loved to have had one today.
Finally would have been able to get a game in and get outside. Anything else that you want to mention about Eden softball that I didn't ask you about, or that maybe you jotted down, or anything that you want to talk about?
No, we're just really excited. We can't wait to get out there. Hopefully tomorrow's the day that we can get it done.
Yeah, what's the schedule? What are you supposed to play the rest of this week? What's your schedule?
We are tomorrow against Montpelier, Friday against Eastside, and a doubleheader Saturday against Fremont.
Okay, so you have a busy week, knock
busy.
on wood.
Yep.
And that Montpelier game tomorrow is non-conference.
It's a non-conference game.
Are you all right with that? I mean, they've made that switch to playing each other twice to one game. Where do you stand on that, dear?
You know, I have mixed feelings about it. I love that it opens up an opportunity to play some other teams that we might not have been able to play, but I do like playing them twice, once at home, once away. But I'm good with adding some more teams on.
Yeah, and that potentially, instead of playing maybe the weakest team in the BBC a second time,
right,
you can add that Archibald or whoever.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Hey, Paula, thanks for being with us tonight. Best of luck this year in year number 2.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Paula Fry, head softball coach at Eden, our first guest here tonight on Sports Weekly. We'll talk Eden baseball with Brian Bomber when we come back.
Here's your updated B-Rock 100.9 forecast. A wind advisory begins at 11 p.m. tonight and continues until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Cloudy tonight with scattered thunderstorms likely. Lows around 45. South winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. High of 50 tomorrow. Scattered rain showers likely. 32 tomorrow night. Chance for mixed precipitation. A dusting of snow tomorrow night. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 74 degrees.
The Bryan Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreations Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main stops, always there when you need us.
When it comes to choosing a realtor to help you with your real estate needs, the only choice is the Amerimade Realty team. Serving 6 counties in Northwest Ohio, Amerimade continues to be one of the top companies year after year. With our award-winning service, commitment to each and every client's best interest, comprehensive marketing plan, and dedication to the people and communities around us, the Amerimade Realty team is the go-to choice in Northwest Ohio. When it's time for you to make your next move, call Amerimade Realty at 419-636-7653. That's 419-636-SOLD, or go to AmerimadeHomes.com.
I would. He probably knows better. He probably knows more.
Welcome back out here to Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford. 2 more shows after tonight, and we are done for 21-22. All baseball next week, a kind of a mix. We have the BBC, the NWOAL, and the GMC all represented next week. Montpelier head baseball coach Toby Hutchison will be on next week. New head baseball coach at Bryan, Corey Walker, picked up his first win last night against Napoleon. He'll be on. And Tenora head coach Brent Renolette. 2 weeks from tonight, Defiance head coach at Eden Grad, Tom Held, will be on the show, and we'll talk with North Central head baseball coach Eric Smeltzer in a couple of weeks as well, and looking to find one more potential guest for that night as well. We mentioned Eden baseball, head coach Brian Moore. Is this really your 7th year? Is that right?
That's right.
Does it feel like year number 7?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. And I know last year, at a lot of times it wasn't the most fun, but you kind of knew what you were getting into with everybody, all that youth that you played last year at the varsity level and winning 7 games.
You know, the thing that we struggled with the most was, just being consistent, and that was just having a young ball club. Big thing, not having the COVID year really set us back, but, everybody dug in. They kept buying into what we were selling. My coaches did a heck of a job getting guys getting to play baseball, great baseball at the right time. So,
I asked Paula this, where did you see your baseball team playing the most catch-up from not having any season in 2020?
Just varsity experience. A lot of these guys made the jump from, playing junior high, Pony League in the summer, right into playing varsity baseball. A little slow. I mean, we were behind the 8 ball a little bit. Sometimes the game got a little too fast. But once we figured out how to slow things down, I thought that's when we really started to improve.
Where did you see the most growth of that team throughout last year?
Just confidence. Early on, you could tell they were a young ball club. They weren't out there trying to make mistakes. It's just something that happened. A bad hop didn't go our way. But again, they just continued to buy in, continued to get better, and bought into what we were selling.
Summer, did you get a bunch in the summer, a bunch of work in?
Yeah, we were able to play a full Acme schedule. Got all of our freshmen on board to play with us. Actually made the Acme district tournament. Probably the big thing that happened to us in the summer, and we saw the biggest confidence boost, was beating Bryan in the Acme sectional. Definitely played our best baseball that night. It's ultimately, and our goal every year is to win a sectional title, get to the district, see what happens, win a league title. But in the summer, it's just get to the Acme district, and that way you can go see, better competition, the Defiances, the Wayne Traces.
Hey, and you want to win as much as anybody, and we're just talking summer baseball, and you want to be competitive, all right? I get that. But what else are you looking for out of summer, especially with that young baseball team? Just
seeing where all new pieces would fit in. We definitely have a very talented freshman class in right now, with some guys that I think are going to contribute to begin with. Just seeing where they fit in with our guys that were coming back. Ultimately, just trying to find the best pieces and what's going to help us win baseball games.
All right, Brian, let's flash forward to this year. You've been at it. Have you been able to get a scrimmage in?
We haven't been able to scrimmage. We've done a lot of inter-squatting. Obviously our numbers aren't where they need to be to do that on a consistent basis, but, we got 2 very young coaches that offered to fill in and play in the inter-squad, so that's definitely helped. We got to see some live pitching, even though it's our guys. Gotten some game situations, so it's helped a lot.
All right, let's talk about this year's team. What have you seen through the first, whatever you've had, 20, 25 practices, whatever?
They're buying. That's the big thing. Just they're buying into what we're doing, what we want to do. They're being coachable. We made some as a coaching staff. We made some changes, and we have coaches focusing on just one area and because that's what we have them there for. Just ultimately, giving us their best effort day in and day out.
What has that meant by having, like, quote-unquote, individualized coaches for either hitting or pitching?
For example, I got Landon Blower on my staff. He played my first year, took us to a district tournament, played 4 years at Indiana Tech. He's primarily the pitching coach. It gives him time to, focus in and just watch sessions day in and day out, talk to guys on what they need to improve on. Austin Fritsch, who's been with me for, I think, 4 years now, I've given all the reins to the hitting over to him. He's made a lot of adjustments with our hitters. Preston Klingler, middle infielders and catchers. Again, Coach P played for me. And then our JV coach, Austin Keese, new to the staff this year, also played for me. Does a great job, middle infielder, and bringing energy every day.
Deliberate that you asked everybody that's helping you that is an Eden alum? Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, there's a method to the madness behind it. They know what Bomber baseball is all about. The tradition, it goes back to all the way to Bob Morton, and that's ran its course till now. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're guys that know the program. They know what I want. And they're ultimately, they're guys I trust and that they're going to help see the program to the next level.
As you come into this season, Brian, what do you like about this team? What do you do pretty well going in?
I think realistically we're going to field the ball a little bit better. Last year, we struggled to field it consistently early on, but I thought we were fielding it better at the end of the year. Pitching-wise, I think we're going to have a lot more depth. Last year we depended on, 2 or 3 guys to win us big ball games. Now I think we have four to 6 guys that I feel comfortable throwing out there day to day. But ultimately, I think we need to swing it more consistently, and we need to play smart baseball and not dig ourselves big holes like we did last year.
Hey, you can live with some physical errors from time to time, but when they're routine physical errors, that's when it gets frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. But again, they're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. They're not out there trying to make mistakes. It just happens. They're good learning points, and we just look to grow from there.
Now, I don't know how often it's going to happen because of weather in Northwest Ohio. You know that. But there will be a week where you're going to have 4, 5, 6 games. Having some depth on the mound, boy, that's huge, isn't it?
It is, to where we were struggling last year to say, okay, who's going to throw tonight? Okay, now we got to think if they're throwing on a Monday, who's going to throw Friday? What if this person needs relief? What are our options? And just to have more depth and have guys that have experience on the mound, it's big.
You mentioned numbers. They're not where you want them to be, but they've improved from the last year or two?
We're at 15 kids this year. We return 12 letter winners. Like I said, we have 3 freshmen in to make out the 15. So numbers are definitely growing. 3 seniors. So again, I think we'll lose the 3 seniors, but I think we gain 4 or 5 8th graders coming in next year. But just having the ability, we're going to have the ability to play some JV games this year. So it's definitely going to be big for growth, where last year, we had no option to play JV ball.
I was going to say, so it's got to be strategic. Either a night you're not playing a varsity game or a doubleheader on a Saturday maybe?
Yep. We play a lot on JV on off nights. We also have some Saturday single-header games where we're going to play JV right after. So,
you mentioned, I'm going to go back to pitching because it's so huge and becomes more magnified come tournament time as well. You have an established one in Cole Vasquez, right, that's been with you for a long time. Yep. Where has he gotten better?
I think where Cole's at right now, it's just trying trying not to let the game get too quick for him, slowing it down, playing it at his pace. Cole's got good stuff. He's proven himself for 3 years, and we expect him to have a big senior campaign.
Let's talk BBC.
Okay.
It's been Montpelier's the last few years. They've graduated a really successful senior class. Talk about what the conference, in your opinion, looks like.
It's wide open this year. On paper, I think it still has to go through Montpelier. Offensive firepower they have coming back. North Central is going to be very solid. They returned two of the top pitchers in the league. Holgate new to the conference this year. Knocked off Ayersville last night. So I think it's wide open. The league's always improving. We got good coaches in the league, good players. It's going to be a fun season.
And it's always worth asking, unfortunately, because they've had issues. Is Fayette, they have enough bodies? Okay.
Yep.
They were always one of those teams that was borderline in having bodies. And I know Holgate's real close from what I've heard, 11, 13 kids, something like that. So that's good that you're able to field everybody has a team, which you don't want to take for granted because it's happened in the conference in past years.
And it's just getting baseball back in the BBC. It's always been competitive. It's always been good baseball. We know night in and night out when we play league games, we have to be ready to go because anybody can beat anybody, I believe.
There was a run there where the team that was coming out of the Division IV district to get to regional, it was alternating. It seemed like, Eden had a run. Then Stryker was there for a few years. And, it just felt like the conference didn't get any recognition, and then all of a sudden you look up and guess who's representing the district in the regional? It's somebody from the BBC.
Yeah, that just speaks to where the BBC's at. We definitely a prideful conference. We at night in and night out, like I said, we got to play our best baseball because if you don't play your best baseball, anybody can beat anybody.
Out of conference. Is that still? I know you've played your Archibalds in the past. Wasion, are they on the schedule? Okay.
Yep, Archibald, Wasion. We got Wayne Trace, who's going to be a solid ball club this year.
They're one of the better ones, I think, in the GMC.
Yeah, like I said, I think they'll compete for a league title. We have Delta, like I said, Archibald, Wasion, and then obviously we got a non-conference, or we have non-conference games with our conference opponents.
What's the rest of the week look like for you, weather permitting?
Tomorrow we host Montpelier. We're off Friday. Then we have a 3-team doubleheader with Wayne Trace and Stryker.
Okay, at your place?
At Eden.
Okay, it's a non-league game tomorrow.
Correct.
Which leads me into that question I asked Paula. Where do you land on reducing it to one conference game?
I like it better. That it just shows that you have to play. When those designated league games, you have to play your best baseball, and the kids know that. We've talked with them that if they want to compete and accomplish one of our goals, which is winning a league title, it's you have to play your best baseball throughout the week.
Listen, if you're playing the bottom feeder in the conference and you beat them 37-0, and you raise your averages and lower ERAs. What does that do for you come May compared to if you've got Wasion on the schedule instead?
Just seeing the competition, those games, you like them as a confidence boost. You like them because you get, all 15 kids, could potentially get varsity playing time. But, ultimately at the end of the day, we got to play our best baseball, come May, just to prep for the tournament. Anything
baseball-wise that we need to be aware of? Anything that they've told you, points of emphasis, or whether it's strike zone or anything umpiring-wise, that what are they looking at this year coming in?
Not much has changed in the game of baseball.
Which, by the way, any point of emphasis that they talk about is gone by the second week of April.
Yeah, they've talked about a hybrid pitching stance. I left that to Coach Blower to figure out because obviously he's a pitching coach, so I just tell him, hey, make sure they're not doing it so I don't have to go out and talk to an umpire about it.
Yeah. Nothing else, though, to keep an eye on this year, really?
No, not that I think.
Yeah. Well, we wish you best of luck. Thanks for being with us tonight, Brian. Look forward to seeing you. I know we've got you penciled in for the North Central game in a couple of weeks, so that might be a pretty big one in the BBC then and then moving forward.
Yep. Like I said, got to play our best every night of the league because if not, anybody can beat anybody.
Thanks for being here tonight, Brian.
Thanks, Andy.
Long time coming since you didn't bring me a Snickers tonight like 25 years ago.
I dropped the ball on that one.
That's all right. We'll forgive you. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks,
Brian
Andy.
Moore, head coach of the Eden Bombers, our guest here tonight. We'll get Andy Singer to come on if he can hear us. Hey, Andy, come on up. Fairview Baseball is what we'll talk next here on B-Rock.
Here's your updated B-Rock 100.9 forecast. A wind advisory begins at 11 p.m. tonight and continues until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Cloudy tonight with scattered thunderstorms likely. Lows around 45. South winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. High of 50 tomorrow. Scattered rain showers likely. 32 tomorrow night. Chance for mixed precipitation. A dusting of snow tomorrow night. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 73 degrees.
When it comes to choosing a realtor to help you with your real estate needs, the only choice is the Amerimade Realty team. Serving 6 counties in Northwest Ohio, Amerimade continues to be one of the top companies year after year. With our award-winning service, commitment to each and every client's best interest, comprehensive marketing plan, and dedication to the people and communities around us, the Amerimade Realty team is the go-to choice in Northwest Ohio. When it's time for you to make your next move, call Amerimade Realty at 419-636-7653. That's 419-636-SOLD, or go to AmerimadeHomes.com.
The Bryan Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreations Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archibald is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main stops, always there when you need us.
Back out here at JJ Wins in Holiday City, our final segment of Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford. Let's talk a little Fairview baseball now with head coach Andy Singer. Is this season 20?
Season 19.
Season 19. So I wrote 19 seasons, but my math, come on, I'm on there. I'm on radio, man. I don't have to add too much. Over 300 wins. Congrats on that last year, getting number 300.
Thank you very much. That was a big accomplishment.
That's fantastic. Yep. Have run a great program over the years, and boy, last year, I know you look at 16-11 and you think, oh, that's just a few games above 500, but where you started and where you ended, light years. That had to have been as gratifying as any of the 19.
You know, last year was a really special year in many ways, but that was probably one of the biggest things that when we started the season, there's no way that we thought we were going to be in that situation after the first dozen games of only having a couple wins underneath our belt. But the bottom line came down to it is that with that group, we had to figure out what was going to work best. And once we figured that out, the kids started to click and started to play the game like we wanted them to, and it really worked out as we were at about 11 out of the last 12 games. We were able to put it together, and so where we were at, we were really worried and concerned about if we were going to make it over that 500 mark, but ended up turning around and finish the season the way we wanted to with that big win over Tenora in that sectional finals.
And when you mention kind of putting it together, maybe talk about that. What do you mean by that? And just finding the right spots with the right pitcher on the mound, that sort of thing?
Right, and that's the biggest thing with high school baseball is that you have to understand is that depending on who's on the mound, you take your best athletes out of different positions, and when you put them on the mound, it makes things shift a little bit. And then it's really just finding the right combination of the defense to back up those pitchers, knowing that if you got a power pitcher, you know where's the ball going to be likely hit, knowing the defense, and then also the offense that you're playing. So there's just a lot of strategy behind it, and it just took the kids a little bit also to understand that it wasn't about individuals, it was about what's best for the team.
And pretty gratifying as the Fairview program to beat the number 1 seed that you beat in Tenora, a pretty good Fairview rival.
You know, and that was interesting because going into the tournament, when we played Tenora in the regular season, you know, we out-hit them in the game, but they got us because we had 5 errors in the first 3 innings to give them quite a few runs. And so going into tournament, obviously with them being number 1 seed, we really didn't want to play them. But as we looked at it, we said, look, we'll take our chances because we know we can play with them. And honestly, that game is a sectional finals with Caleb going that first inning, giving up 3 runs. We were concerned. I've never called a timeout in the first inning to go out and talk to the pitcher, especially in a sectional game like that. But we just basically said, okay, listen, shut the door, shut them down, and then we'll chip away. And that's exactly what we did. And Caleb was spot on and lights out the rest of the game to keep it close.
Andy, one last note on last year, and I just want to make sure that you get some time to maybe talk about that group of seniors. You lost, 7 of them, real quality, not just athletes, but kids, and 4 of them were 4-year letter winners. And, I mean, they did so much for the success of not just Fairview baseball, but Fairview athletics as a whole and what they contributed to.
Oh, there's no doubt that class was extremely talented in many sports, and we knew that coming into it. And that's also, I think, some of the frustrating part of it at the beginning of the season was that we knew we had the athletes, but we weren't getting the victories, and we had to figure out what was making that happen. And so they are a special group, and that also leads us into this season as that one of the things our biggest concern is that all the kids that were their backups are now the ones that have to step into it. And we got a lot of seniors this year that are doing that, but haven't had the varsity experience that we want coming into the season.
Did you get to see some of those kids, though, in some spots in the summertime?
Yes, that was the biggest thing. And, that's where we always talk about the summertime is our second half of football games, basically when teams are blowing guys out. And that's what it was, is that they got a chance to get in there and play, and we can see that. But even there, we got a core of 12, 13 guys right now on the varsity that they're all fighting for those spots. And that's been one of the great things so far this year is that they know that we got guys sitting on the bench. And I know it's cliche to say that, if you're not doing well, we got somebody that's going to take your spot, but that's the fact. And we got guys in there that are chomping at the bit to get in there and see what they can do.
I didn't talk to Brian about this, about how some of those kids that are playing for Eden, success breeds success in other sports that they had. So going to your point there, what you just said about competition, about how that makes not just a team better, but each kid better when they're competing for spots, and you have somebody you can depend on behind them.
That's exactly right. And, and it starts, to me, in my opinion, it starts at practice. And I've been very happy and very fortunate that this group that we have, especially when we separate, it makes long days for coaches as far as that goes, because if we were inside and we have to practice, we practice separate from varsity and JV, and we'll have a varsity practice go for 2.5 hours, and a JV again. So it makes about a 5-hour night for our coaching staff, but we like it so that we can individualize and get more basic instruction for those kids. But what we also see out on the field when we're able to get out there is games that we're practicing and preparing for, is that these kids are going all out. They're diving for balls in the hole. They're knocking things down. And that, to me, is what breeds the attitude and the adjustments that the kids make to get after it and make everybody better. And right now we have that in many aspects. Our young kids see it, and they're out there trying to do the same thing. And that's really encouraging. We may not have the most athletic group we've ever had here at Fairview Baseball, but we can say that this group is working, one of the hardest working groups we've ever had.
Good numbers?
Great numbers. We're at 30, going to be 31 here pretty shortly, but we're at 30 right now. We got 11 freshmen, so we got a lot of guys there. We picked up a lot of freshman games this season. We have about 8 or 9 freshman games, so we'll keep them interested in it. But our numbers should be good for the next many years. It's just a matter of making them better, and that's what we've been preaching is each day, you come to practice, you come to the games, and some aspect of it, get better.
You mentioned, Andy, hard work, so that's obviously a big strength of this group. What else do you like about this group between the lines?
And that's the thing right now is that Nathaniel Adkins is our senior leader right now, and he's one of those kids that just committed to Cedarville down there, close to Dayton, and really excited for him as what he's going to do there. But what's interesting about it is that it doesn't matter where you put him, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He's in the game, and he's helping coach on the sidelines. He's helping do those things, but he's our go-getter. He's our guy that we know he wants the ball in tight situations. He wants the bat in tight situations, and if he's not, he's going to be encouraging those that are. And that's what I'm really seeing is that we don't have any infighting or any problems with attitudes from that side of things, and that's what makes things better. And when you know that you don't have to babysit those little things like that these kids want to win and want to play hard, and if they don't win, they're going to give it all they got.
Do you feel like you have a pretty versatile group? You can move some positions around?
There's no doubt that we look at it, and I was just talking the other day to some others, and I said that back in the day we used to have that there's a 2-week window where pitchers and catchers could report early, and of course everybody was a pitcher and catcher. But right now on our roster for the varsity with 13 guys, all 13 of them I could put in there to pitch. They may not be, we've classified them as A and B pitchers, only from the sense that the B pitchers don't get the extra practice innings because we expect an inning or two is all they're going to give us, more like a middle reliever, but any of them could, and that's what we're trying to focus on, is trying to stay away from walks, let the defense play, but with that, we got guys in all positions that we could put them in there, and I'm going to say probably each kid is about 3 position deep as to where they can play, and we feel comfortable with them in those spots.
Every coach will say they've got something to improve on, especially before you've only played one game. It was a successful start, but you played one game. What are areas that you need to see some improvement as the year goes on?
Well, after practice tonight, I can tell you that one of the biggest focuses we've had in the past 6 weeks of practice here has all been about our approach at the plate with no count, with no strikes on us, is what we're swinging at and how we're swinging at it and what is our outcome. Because it gets me kind of fired up just from the fact that we've stressed and taught it, and they understand it. The conceptual idea of, if you're going to swing at a pitch and you don't have any strikes, then it better be a swing that you can put solid contact on and drive it. We don't want any dribblers or any off the end of the bat or even the dreaded pop-up with no count on you. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to do, is that making sure that we, with that count on us, is to make sure that we're taking good cuts at good pitches. But that's one big one. The other one is throwing strikes. In our scrimmages that we had this preseason, we struggled in some times of getting the ball over the plate consistently, and that can always get you in trouble. As we know, you can't get anybody out after you walk them to first base, but we can if they hit the ball.
You do or did have a couple of injuries coming into the year. Where do you stand with them?
Well, my prayers and my wishes is that Jackson Grind is our big arm on the mound, is that he'll be back sometime. We just don't know when. And we obviously want him to get better. And a knee injury is one of those nagging things that you can carry over and be tough to get away from. And but it's one of those that we hope that he's been working hard. I'll tell you, there hasn't been anybody else that's been injured that I've seen that has worked harder than Jackson and trying to stay healthy and get back, and all about his focus, and he's doing a great job. But we're seeing strides. We got notice that he may be able to start doing some things, just we're not going to be able to have him full go for quite a while yet.
Great start to the year in terms of, you got a win last night. What, no-hitter as well?
Yeah, no-hitter.
Toledo weight?
Yep. And when anytime that a Toledo school comes around, you never know what's going to happen and what you're going to get, because so many things change within the public schools there with Toledo. And they came in and we were talking about, they played on Monday, and some people think that it was cold last night, but Monday night it didn't even get over 32 at Fairview, and they were out there playing in Toledo. So we had them in their second game, and Nathaniel came out, pitched well, and our freshman came in then, Cole Mackin, threw the last 2 innings, and they kept it a no-hitter, and offensively we were able to put a lot of runs on the board. So it was a good start, and especially, like we said, when we got that many young kids, every season when we get a kid that starts his first varsity game, I give him a medallion, and on the back of the medallion it says, alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much. And one of those things that we look at is that we always stress that when you start your first varsity game, you now are in the club. It's our Fairview Baseball Club that's your goal, is to be in that. And last night I had to give away 7.
Ooh.
Or 6, excuse me. I had to give away 6. So we had 3 spots that were there from last year, but the other 6 were new. So I love the fact that, we could start out with a positive note and maybe take those preseason jitters off of some of those new guys that came into the lineup.
If you would, talk to us a little bit about the GMC this year. Always a really good baseball conference. Where does it stand this year?
I've made bets with many people already that I said that I'll bet $100 bill that the winner of the conference won't be undefeated. to me, this is the best in my 19 years, and you take one away from COVID, but in my 19 years, I've never seen the conference be any stronger than what it is this year. And we've had some really tough conference teams in the past, but across all of us, it's unreal. Everybody's got a dominating pitcher. Everybody's got a great defense, has guys that can stick it. It's just incredible. And it's going to be one of those years where every night, it's not going to be a surprise if you see this person won or that team won. It's going to be a battle and very exciting. I mean, that's what coaching's all about. But it's one of those. It's like, man, every night you look at these scores and thinking, what are we going to get? You know, and honestly, it also comes down to the weather. You know, if you play Tuesday, Thursday, you have your two pitchers because we can't throw Tuesday and Thursday, and that could be a big difference maker as well. But it's going to be tough.
And then not only the GMC schedule, but what you guys schedule out of conference as well, always with an eye towards May and late May baseball.
Yeah, we just talked about that last night after the game, and I told him, I said, listen, we guys, if we think back to last year when we went into the tournament, you know, we had a rough road to go as through that sectionals of getting by Sonora in that second game. But I told him, I said, look at our non-conference games that we play throughout the year. That is what prepares us for those situations. And you know, we're all about the NWAL, the WBL. You know, we try to get as many as possible, and that's why we're having to start to reach out to Toledo, is because we already play everybody around here without traveling long distances. And so that's why we're into the Toledo scheme. But it's definitely one of those that, you know, our kids aren't going to back down from anybody. We may not win and we may not be as talented, but they're going to go into the game knowing that it's 0-0 and anything can happen.
Weather permitting, what's the next few days look like?
Tomorrow night we are at home again with Emmanuel Christian, and then we bring in Defiance on Friday, and then we go to Archbold for Archbold and Eastside on Saturday. And then Monday we're at Lakewood, and then Tuesday we have Wauseon, and then Thursday we're with Antwerp. So GMC starts just over a week from now, and it's going to be a tough one to begin with, as you know, it doesn't get any easier from here on out.
Andy, we appreciate you taking time to come on over here. Anything you want to make mention of or talk about that I didn't ask you about?
No, honestly, again, I'm just very proud of our seniors and the way that they've been playing. And you know, and a shout out to those guys is that, you know, this is their last season as an athlete at Fairview High School. And, you know, we've stressed it and talked about it. And I told them, I said, as much as we enjoy the game, I said, you're going to finish the season just like you started 12 years ago when you started playing baseball. I said, we want to have fun. We want to play as hard as we can. I said, we want to have this be a great memory-making season, and win or lose, you know, these are just good kids to be around, and I'm really proud of them and look forward to what they're going to become.
Appreciate you coming over here. Best luck this season at Fairview.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Andy Singer, head coach of the Fairview Apaches. Thanks to him, Brian Moore and Paula Fry, our guests tonight. Next week, Montpelier head baseball coach Toby Hutchison, Bryan baseball coach Corey Walker, and Tenora head coach Brent Renalad. Sports Weekly brought to you every week by Terry Hendricks Ford, JJ Wins, Amerimade Realty, the main stops of Northwest Ohio, and the Bryan Parks and Rec Department. More rock on the way now on B-Rock.